So it really wasn't enough for Activision to release a Call of Duty game every single year. Now they have to start releasing 2 a year, as now we are getting these remasters. And I gotta say, I'm not against remasters or anything like that. If anything, I'm actually for them. I think remasters are really good for the industry. I think they're really good for consumers, as people are able to discover games on new platforms that they may have never discovered before, or it just gives fans of those franchises a real good chance to just experience those games again and get them in a bigger, better version. But in this case, with Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, or to give it its proper title, Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered, that isn't quite the case. Now, before I dive into this review of Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, I would like to say I'm not even going to mention the multiplayer about the multiplayer being missing or anything like that, except for just in this opening bit, because, yeah, the multiplayer being missing, it is tragic. It should be in the game. I think it's really ridiculous that they've removed it. It's kind of like when they released the Nathan Drake collection without the multiplayer. I was just like, why the hell have you done that? But, you know, they have explained it. Apparently Activision are going to release Modern Warfare 2 maps and Modern Warfare 3 maps, basically all inside of Modern Warfare 2019, so they're going to have like one continual, over sort of seeing multiplayer mode, which I guess is fair enough, but it's just really annoying when you have this game which the multiplayer was so revered and really was what brought Call of Duty into what it is today, and just not include it in the remaster feels really it just feels like it's missing. It feels like there's a huge section of this just missing, and it's really kind of frustrating. But I don't want to talk about the game that's not here. I want to talk about the game that actually is here and the product that I have in front of me. So let's dive into it. So in regards to the game itself, of course, I'm not going to say anything that hasn't been said already. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is a fantastic game. It's a really well made, fantastically playable game, if that makes sense. It plays brilliantly, and it's just one of those games that you can always go back to. I think as far as Call of Duty games go, their campaigns, for the most part, especially in the earlier days, sort of around this era, were incredibly replayable. They're incredibly memorable. They've got great characters, of course. This is the Modern Warfare trilogy we're talking about. There's characters like Soap and Ghost and Price, and of course we have Shepard in this game as well. It's just an incredible game. It's fantastic. The locations are amazing. The gameplay is absolutely solid. The story is very fun to follow along with. Got a great villain with Makarov. I just really enjoy the Modern Warfare 2 campaign, and I think that is a solid second entry for this trilogy. But in this review, I'm not going to focus on the game itself, because again, this isn't a review for Modern Warfare 2, this is a review for the remaster, so I'm going to be focusing a lot more on the technical aspects of the game, but I really want to just get out of the way and say, yeah, Modern Warfare 2, fantastic game, and it's still as good now as it was back then. So let's talk about the graphics. The graphics for Modern Warfare 2, they have been updated, of course, and brought more into the modern generation. And for me, the graphics, they're not a huge step up. Like, it's not absolutely revolutionary. It's not going to blow your mind or anything like that. Of course, this isn't a remake or anything like that, or a reimagining. This is purely a remaster. And Modern Warfare 2 isn't a super old game. I mean, it came out in 2009, which, granted, as far as generations go, we have had another generation since then. But in the larger scale of context, it's really not that long ago, and I think that the age of the game isn't really shown in the remaster because, again, it wasn't that long ago. But in the end, the graphics are an improvement. They do look better. Plus, what I do like about the graphics as well is that in Modern Warfare 2, if you ever played it on Xbox 360 or on PlayStation 3, there was kind of this haze on top of it, and it did feel like it was a bit artificial. That is gone in the remaster, which is really nice to see. It's a lot cleaner, it's a lot crisper, and it just feels like they have updated it enough to the point where, even though, again, the graphics were great back then, they still look good now. The fact that they did refine it a little bit and got rid of that haze that was kind of on it, it just makes it feel a bit more pristine, which is nice to see. Also, they have added a lot more details into the character models, which is really nice. There are a lot of different screenshots that you'll see online, particularly of Captain Price and McTavish, and they do look much better. They've got a lot more detail to them. They're a lot more defined looking as characters, as people. You can tell that they are a lot more design heavy, and I really enjoyed that as well, because again, when watching these cutscenes, they do present themselves in a lot better of a light than they did previously, which again, it's just that nice step up, which really helps to kind of reinforce this remaster. Also, the audio is something I want to pick up on as well, because what I've noticed as well is that the audio has actually changed a little bit. It's a little bit different. The gun noises are a bit more realistic. They are a bit more loud and hard-hitting and realistic, which I think, following on from Modern Warfare 2019, that was something they wanted to bring over to this, because the guns in Modern Warfare 2 originally, while the sound wasn't a negative aspect of the game or anything like that, in comparison, you look back at it, it does feel like these guns were not quite as heavy as they were, and it makes it seem like the guns were kind of firing almost rubber bullets in a sound way. I know that's hard to kind of describe and hard to talk about, but I don't know if you know what I mean or not, but it's just, it felt like, you know, the guns didn't really feel like they were really unleashing bullets, you know, it didn't really feel like that. In this remaster, they have changed the audio of the gun, so it does feel a lot more hard-hitting and realistic, and it actually feels like you're firing an actual gun, just like it does in the Modern Warfare 2019. It just feels a lot more grounded and a lot more realistic for a war scenario like this and for a game like this. It just feels much better, and I think when you're playing the game, it just allows you to kind of get more immersed in it, because again, I think the guns feel much, much better, and a lot of that comes from the sound design. And yeah, ultimately, it is a bit of a weird remaster because it is purely the campaign. There is nothing else to it. And I know I said I wasn't going to bring this up again, but screw it, I'm bringing it up again. I mean, the fact that this doesn't even include the Spec Ops mode either, which was a big part of Modern Warfare 2. Like, when that was brought in, that was like quite a big new step for the series. It was kind of, you know, Infinity Ward doing their version of zombies, you know, having their own sort of third gameplay mode. And Spec Ops was a lot of fun. Like, it was a really nice addition. They were just these little mini self-contained missions based on the campaign that you could play with other people or just play them on your own. And they just served as a really nice little side piece to the campaign and obviously to the multiplayer. And that's not included here either, which I think is a shame because, again, it was a big part of the game and a lot of people did enjoy that Spec Ops mode. So to kind of just dismiss it from the game, dismiss it from the remaster, it does feel a bit strange. And yeah, of course, the multiplayer being missing is a huge thing. I don't think it's as big of a deal given when this was released, because this isn't super long after Modern Warfare had been released, so, you know, most people are still playing Modern Warfare, I'm still playing Modern Warfare Online, so it's not a huge deal. It's just one of those things that, again, it would have been nice to see, but if they are going to start adding more and more Modern Warfare 2 maps like Rust into Modern Warfare 2019, then I guess they're keeping up on their word. So, you know, it's not a terrible thing. It's just one of those things that would have been nice to see as a remaster and to really bring this game into the next generation. It would have been cool to include all of its features. Overall though, this Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remaster is a solid remaster. It's one of those that you can pick up and play. It's super cheap as well. It's a really good price. They're only charging this for 20 quid here in the UK, so you can pick it up on the PlayStation Store. It's also now available on the Xbox Store, so you can pick that up there as well. And you can just play through it, 20 quid, and you can relive that awesome campaign. And it's a bit better here and there, so it is worthy of being called a remaster. In regards to whether I think the actual remaster itself is worth it, I mean, again, it depends on what you want to do with it. Like, if you're a big fan of Call of Duty, if you're a big Modern Warfare 2 fan and you want to relive that campaign, then sure, 20 quid, why not? If you've never played it before, absolutely 20 quid, it's no problem. It just depends on what you're looking for. Like, if you are a big fan of the multiplayer, you didn't really care for the campaign, then obviously this has none of that to be seen here, so there's not really much to delve into. But again, as a campaign standalone thing for 20 quid, it's not bad at all. If anything, it's pretty great. It's the same fantastic game that we had in the past, and it is a little bit better in certain areas, and it does enhance the experience a little bit more, particularly with the audio. And I think that, again, Modern Warfare Remastered, it's just a really fun experience. It's a great game, and it's a great pickup for only 20 quid. It's just a shame that it is lacking those key features from the original game that really made it what it was. But for 20 quid, you can't really complain.